Friday myself when I was mayor to be sure we got out. We didn't need to be here. Didn't I, Sal?
Yes, you did.
You don't meet just to meet. Meet reason and go.
No fight for me, my friend.
Mr. Gilbert, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Doing well. It's just one of those weeks, every day's gonna be a Monday, though.
I feel that. Ready to rock?
Uno momento. Close enough. Harry, could you lead us in the pledge, please, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Sergeant.
See, Mr. Beard, I didn't really realize Mr. Beard there.
It comes and goes as it pleases.
First item is approval of minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes. Any issues?
Nope.
None that I saw.
All good. Minutes are approved. Visitors' comments. If anybody's here to talk about something that's not on the agenda, now's the time to talk, but we cannot address it. Anybody that comes up to talk, please state your name and address for the record. Item G has been struck from the agenda, so we won't be.
G,
Yeah, G's gone. So D, discuss and consider final review and action on replat of lots 14, 15, and 16, block 1 into 1.377 acre tract to be known as lot 14A, block 1 of the Woodland Acre subdivision located along McFadden Road, County Road 280D, within the city of Lake Jackson, ETJ, filed on January the 4th, 2022.
Mr. Speaker, this is pretty much a simple replat, and the reason being too that, simple replat, and the reason being that the county had given the developer, the property owner, a letter of no objection, and for that reason, we recommended just for final filing. And yeah, it's essentially they're just removing two interior property lines and replatting lots 14, 15, and 16 all into one lot, which is referred to as 14A. And this is a property that resides in the ETJ off McFadden Road.
Jeff, anything?
I don't have anything.
Harry? Okay. We have a motion.
We consider final review and action on the replat, the lots 14, 15, 16, block 1 into 1.377 acre tract to be known as lot 14A, block 1 of the Woodland Acres subdivision, located on County Road 680D within the city of Lake Jackson, ETJ.
I second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes. Item E, discuss and consider administrative review and action to the request by Regal Storage to underbrush future expansion site at 125 North, or 125 freeway, 125 FM 2004, enabling topographic surveying to be done.
As mentioned in my communication to you all, this is again another simple approach here, and mainly it's just to the developer getting to extend their previous development that they had done for the storage there off FM 2004, and it's also in the city's best interest also that they have as much clearing of those underbrush so as to get a proper topographic information. And also, I believe that the developer might take the opportunity to pursue doing a tree survey. But this is similar to what was done across the road from that, when the big house was developed, that is currently has been developed. There were really no other approach than to actually underbrush so they can get the necessary survey done. And the developer is here if you have any questions.
Jeff,
I don't have anything.
Eric?
Where are the limits of this?
So this section right here is fronting the highway,
Right.
and this is in the back part, the southern part of it. And essentially the property line is, as I'm showing with my pointer. And this area here, within this area, that's the area of interest, that's going to be
That's the,
developed.
that's the plan change, or is it?
Yeah, that's the plan.
So that's the way-
Essentially, it consists of storage units, buildings, and the RV and boat storage section, which is different from the previous one, which didn't have RVs and boats. And of course, the oval, very important detention.
Go back to the previous one, let me still.
Is there something I need to?
Can you point that,
New stuff's gonna be right here.
it's
It's
that
be
area?
right there, yeah.
Yeah, FM 2000.
All the way to 2004?
Yeah. This
No.
is their current storage facility. South of that, they're just gonna extend along here, along the ditch, along this ditch here, and come up towards the north, and join into that.
Will it go all the way to 2004, or just that
No,
area
no,
back
that's
there?
not their
Okay,
property.
very good, thank you.
Why is this before us?
Pardon me?
Why is this before us?
Just to get permission to
Clean the
underbrush.
brush out. Vegetation.
Why do they have?
Remember, anything that's commercial, anything that's in there that has trees in there, it cannot be touched unless given permission. And
Even underbrushing?
Even underbrush. In this particular case, the nature of this beast here it's not gonna allow any tree to be, that's there to remain. That's just the nature of the beast, just like what happened on the existing area there, where there's not a tree to be had, they actually had to go back in there and
Add trees.
reestablish landscaping on the front side. But in that general area in the back, all those trees are not gonna be there once they finish that development.
Joe?
As long as it doesn't go to the highway, I'm good with it.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the actions of the request by Regal Storage to clear the underbrush for future expansion site, enabling a topographical survey.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's passed. All right, item F, discuss, consider, review, and action on request to grant a variance to the sidewalk width or alternate approach for shopping center development at Lake Jackson Town Center, Lot G, Reserve B, at 101 Windingway.
This item, I'm gonna have Eddie comes up and explain a little bit on that. He has more insight into that issue.
Hi. All right, so with this shopping center, we ran into an issue with the back wall of the property. So we required a sidewalk, as we do on all commercial. The PUD spells out that there has to be a sidewalk along this Windingway private alley drive here. The PUD didn't specify the width of it, but since it's commercial property and its underlying zone is B2, we required this to be a 5-foot sidewalk as we do on all commercial property. The thing that was overlooked is all of the mechanical equipment hanging off the back of the building here. This mechanical equipment actually sticks out and obstructs the sidewalk itself, so you're not getting the full 5-foot width. And the developer requested a variance to that requirement for a 5-foot sidewalk, but because this has to go before planners, even though it's a small development, it still has to come here because the PUD sets it out. So you guys have to approve the site plans for that area, and because of that, staff isn't comfortable granting any type of variance back there. So it has to come back to you for you guys to discuss whether or not this needs to be 5-foot wide in this area. This is a continuous sidewalk that goes from Circleway all the way down and connects to Grapevine here. And so this is supposed to be used by the public as a public sidewalk that runs along that private drive. There's another one required on the other side here. The Yakman site has put theirs in. What was going to be the La Quinta site was going to install theirs as well, but they ended up not building that site yet, so that property is still undeveloped. So the sidewalk terminates at the power lines on this end, at the Yakman site here. So this is the section that's missing a sidewalk, and this other section here is missing currently while they're building these two buildings. But that's the gist of it. Is we interpret the PUD to mean that this needs to be a 5-foot sidewalk, and we need you guys to give us a ruling otherwise, or let us know that that's what needs to be there.
I couldn't tell from your pictures, what's the effective width now with the?
39 inches. 39 inches clear here at this one site where the largest meter can sticks out, the largest obstruction.
All the way to where the curb drops off or where the curb starts?
Where the curb starts. So,
There's that more 6 inches, probably more if you count the curb.
exactly.
Eddie, you're talking about mechanical on the backside of that building, what is obstructing the side?
There's a roof access ladder. There's some electrical boxes, a electrical gutter that stick out there, and some small roof drains. The roof drains are probably 8 to 10 inches from the back wall.
Oh, okay.
Keep going. You got any more? Yeah, so that's a 12-inch obstruction there.
Okay.
That's pretty much, this is the largest obstruction back there. The ladder and the rain gutters are closer towards the wall. That's
So, I
the
mean,
ladder
even
itself.
without those obstructions, they would never hit 5 foot.
Correct, yeah.
Hmm.
They would have been 4.5, more or less.
Philson, can you zoom in on that note that tells the contractor what to do right there on the drawing?
Yeah, I read that. Other way.
General notes?
No.
They're on aiming at the sidewalk, that note, big
Oh.
square,
Yeah.
right there.
Zoom in there.
Sounds like it's not an issue for us, it's an issue for the owner to talk to the contractor and make that right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite see what the issue is here.
Would you like to speak?
Good evening, I'm Ray Dewar, I'm the architect on the project. And so, yeah, we do have 5 foot there from the building wall out to the face of curb, so we would have had the 5-foot walk. But as was said, it's now 4.5-ish because of that electrical gutter sticking out in there. Where the 5-foot requirement was in Lake Jackson's ordinance, so as we were starting to look at it, I thought, well, okay, it meets ADA. We've got all of our ADA covered, it's been plan reviewed, and when it's inspected, that'll be confirmed as well, because you can be 3 foot wide for ADA as long as you've got turnarounds within 200 feet of each other, and our site's not even 200 feet wide. The other thing that we had proposed, instead of tearing out all that brand new concrete, was as you come just off that concrete into the service drive where the 5885 dimension is, striping off a 5-foot section of that to allow the pedestrians to ramp down, cross in that service area, which isn't really gonna be used for much of anything. It's kind of narrow for service area, and then ramping them back up onto the walk. So we were gonna provide them an alternate 5-foot route that's then that 3.5, 4 feet off the building. So
What
where they've
is
got
that
5 foot
service
clear.
area? What was the purpose of that?
Just for a car to be able to pull in and unload. Just temporary be there and unload their stuff. and
With
go.
your marked off 5-foot thing, you'd put a ramp on both sides?
Correct, yes. Yeah, in fact, I've got it. I thought Josh had sent in that alternate plan, but I got a copy of it here too.
He did send it in, but that cross slope on that driveway exceeds the 2% maximum allowable, so it just can't work unless that driveway is taken out and re-sloped to be wheelchair friendly.
Which way's the 2% slope?
Away,
It's actually about a 4% slope back down.
yeah, away from the building.
There is a gutter, a drain inlet here, yeah, inlet. So the cross slope here is a little too aggressive for a wheelchair to make its way across.
For the whole, even if you came down a little bit, I mean, how, is it
Yeah,
4%?
It runs from this curve straight down to the inlet here, so it's pretty aggressive coming this direction and this direction. Just everything drains down to a point here. The site itself was built up a little higher than the other buildings there, so it's got a substantial difference between the slab elevation and the existing street over here.
So again,
So-
from an ADA perspective, the sidewalk that's there works at its width. We're just trying, our effort was to try and get you guys a 5-foot walk that you were looking for.
Eddie, do you see any practical way to get 5 feet?
The only way that I see to get 5 feet is to go in and expand the sidewalk down here to the 58.85, which would narrow this driveway, and the whole driveway may need to shift down to be usable for a vehicle. Because it's only 10 foot wide now, so if you come down another 1.5 a foot, whatever you need to get here, you're shrinking it down so narrow that it may not be usable for a vehicle at that point.
You're calling this a driveway?
Well, it's
The service
Where's,
area.
does a car come from Grapevine Turn or,
this is Windingway.
right,
This is a drive-through here.
right?
This is an unloading zone, more or less. But
Okay.
it's shaped like a driveway because it's kind of long.
But it's unloading dock. It doesn't proceed over there to the left.
Negative, no, this is a sidewalk right here that comes out to the dumpster enclosure. And so it terminates right there at that 6-inch curve. There is a door right here on the building that a vehicle could park here and unload whatever and take it into the building at that point.
I just want to ask you real quick.
Yes, sir.
So from where you were saying, you said from your back wall of your building to where?
To the
Which-
face of the curb.
To the face
So
of the curb?
sidewalk plus the curb dimension, which is the way, which is what that dimension there shows,
Mm-hmm.
and how, normal, typical ADA details or anything.
Yeah,
else
I'm not
would
worried about the
detail out.
ADA part, but,
Well, I know, I'm just saying that typically
I-
we detail out to
yes,
that curb.
I got you.
And
I
include
got
it
you.
with the sidewalk.
I'm just curious with the wonderful note that's placed there, what lack of communication could have been derived from that, because it's pretty straightforward.
Good note.
Yeah, it's a very fine note.
Right, and we're trying, obviously, we've got a tenant that's looking to get in there and start, we're trying to avoid tearing out brand new concrete, and so we were trying to look for other
Well,
alternatives.
you were mentioning your ADA, and like Eddie said, I mean, you can't go down on a 4-degree slope.
It can't be the cross slope, correct, right. Right.
So doing the ramp thing, how would you do that with a cross slope of a 4%?
Well, again, our ADA walk would be the one that's adjacent to the building,
Mhm.
because that complies. We were trying to get you guys a 5-foot walk area.
Mm.
It wouldn't be an ADA walk area, but it'd be a 5-foot walk area.
Why aren't you pursuing the contractor to make good on that?
Again, timing and cost of everything. It's just the timing more than anything else. We're trying to get everybody open and in there and didn't want to tear up brand new concrete.
I think it needs to be made right. I mean, if that note wasn't there, then you guys could slide in my book, but. And then I'm gonna be honest with you, that's a 12-inch box. There's no way you would have hit 5 foot on that curb, and we'll go out there and measure together if you want. There's just no way.
If I can add, in my memo, I alluded to pretty much the same thing that Eddie was mentioning as an alternative to shift the sidewalk down toward the sand, reducing this green area a little bit. And my take on it was twofold, one of which he said already to get that 5 feet, but another one which I think I cannot let this slide by without mentioning it, because it's a safety issue. And I mentioned it very early in this process, but we don't really have any teeth to enforce it, because as he said, it's all met already and been approved. And primarily, if that's been done and was able to shift or recommended to shift towards the road, and you don't feel like you want to approve that, was to at least to have this ladder be relocated to another side of the building, because this is just a really, really unsafe situation going on along that sidewalk.
Is that the proudest thing out there?
No, that first
Yeah.
box that is,
Yeah, the meter
Yeah.
can itself.
yeah.
Right. Yeah,
That's the
electrical
biggest
sticks
one.
out furthest.
Well, the moving out in the drive, like you suggest, it's not an option according to Eddie because of the slope. It needs to be wide enough to not worry about bonking your head on an electric meter as you're walking through there. Is there any lighting back there?
Yes, sir. There's currently installed one light over the door that Eddie mentioned. There's 2 other lights that haven't come in yet that are to be installed. They're supposed to go in this week. There's 2 kind of wall pack mounted, cut off, but wall pack mounted fixtures that'll point downward.
Jeff, what's your take?
Well, my thing is, cause I saw that note, and it's a problem, and somebody should have caught it when they're putting in the framing, because the other side of me is like, okay, I'm trying to come up with a solution, because this is money. And as a business owner and deal stuff, you try to come up with a solution that meets the problems. I am curious, and I won't hold anybody to it. We're involved in this because it's in this PUD. Historically, if it has happened since you've been here, had this just been the business owner, what would you do? Warn them, don't do it again, but we give you the variance? I mean, y'all, you don't, I'm not holding y'all to it, because you kind of get the sense here, but what would happen if a commercial business on a small piece of property had done this when they came to the city and were looking for a variance? Because no one can make this right. And there's no, say, hold the contractor to it. Well, what do you do to the contractor? There's no consequences to the contractor. Maybe they don't get the next job, because there's no financial penalty other than maybe having, and my concern is looking at this, because I remember when we looked at this building for the site plan, if the contractor made it right and made that a 5 foot wide from the deal, you're losing some usable space to do the drop off, because that was the problem with our lack of parking, or lack of mobility in there. Those buildings are all kind of small.
Let me offer something here that, just struck me right now. The cost involved in putting in, let's say, a 12-inch eyebrow to that curve there, in other words, adding another foot that would allow you to have a 5 foot clearance. The only thing it's gonna affect, besides the cost, which is gonna be minimal, the 58 feet of curve, I would imagine, would only affect the 10 foot width of parking, or whatever you wanna call it, parking space there. You may be able to reduce that to 9, since 9 foot is a typical parking stall for any vehicle that we use, you would still add that additional foot on that, keep it at the same level as the curb there to allow you to have that 5-foot clearance, that 5-foot gap.
And this is where I'm grateful we have all these engineers here, of which I'm not. If you add something like that onto the edge of it in our soil, then you get problems with it not being, at least I would think, and this is what I don't know. Does it
There's no
impact
soil.
the shifting?
There's no soil there. It's gonna be added right there.
Yeah, there's no soil in the middle of our streets, but they all buckle.
Well, no, yeah. But this would be pinned to the curb that's there.
Okay, well, that's why I'm asking.
Sal, do me a favor, use your pointer and show them, I'm kind of a X's and O's guy.
What I'm saying is, if you come in here and pin, this is 10 foot wide, this is for a parking car. We allow 9 foot as a minimum, so we can reduce this to a 9 foot, add that foot right here, pin a curb, another curb to the existing curb there, thereby increasing the width of the sidewalk, another foot to what you got already. You say that we are how many inches right now to the back of the curb?
39, yeah.
You're 39, it would make
4 foot
it would be
3.
another foot and a half.
Yeah, 57, so you probably have to go with the 50-inch.
A 15-inch curb, yeah. And it still won't compromise the parking because the parking could be 8 foot. Physical for a
Thank
car
you.
to be able to.
Orientation of the truck.
The orientation of the truck.
Why
would
couldn't it be
here.
this
It could
direction?
back off, or it could be coming head on.
Why can't they just back in straight, not have this curb?
Yeah, I mean, it's already there.
Yeah.
This thing is already, in concrete there.
Right.
So, you know, you can leave it there, but.
Is
they
this
can also-
this
yeah,
isn't
they can also
concrete
back-
here, is it?
Huh?
Is this concrete?
This is a sidewalk,
No, that's a
This is
landscape.
ground.
10 is
Just
10 is
grass,
landscape.
Green area.
green area.
We have, they're turning in here, so
They
it
will
looks
be
like you
able
have
to-
all this space.
Yeah. They
Seem
don't
like
have
if you
to get
had
on
that
in there or back
and just
off.
plan on the truck backing in.
You cannot, I mean, you don't have to back into that area.
Okay.
Or you don't have to front in there. They can always back into this area. Just like that.
Okay?
The side swiping kind of is there for queuing of the drive-through eventually. So we were trying to give them as much room to get out of that queue as possible.
Sure.
Yeah, but
That's
a truck right through here, I mean, anyone that's gonna be queuing in here will be queuing in from this point on. So this space right here is really, you've got 20, 30 feet almost right here, completely out of the travel lane.
How much queuing are we required with the ordinance?
What's going in there?
We don't need,
I don't have a tenant there, so I don't think, well,
this
there
is-
may be a tenant yet, I'm not aware of one.
the queue-ins, I can't remember what the requirements are. It's 3
I
and
can't
5.
remember and I wrote it,
It's,
so.
yeah, it depends on the.
I don't know how many cars, I just,
This one here is, this doesn't have the order board, so it doesn't fall into that fast food queuing that we have in the ordinance.
they don't have
It's just a pickup window.
but it's orientating going up.
Correct. Yes.
Correct, and it is.
So why isn't that a queuing line?
This is a queue line right here too.
Yes.
It is a queuing line, but it doesn't fall into that fast food queuing definition that we have for the stacking lane. The reason being, our requirements are from the order board to the first window. There's no ordering board on this, it's just a window.
It's a pickup window.
I didn't remember in our ordinance, we were talking about for Pandera,
Panetta?
that doesn't have an ordering,
I
they
don't
just
know.
drive up and pick up.
Oh, I believe it does.
No, the Panera has a drive-through and has a pickup window.
It has a pickup window, does it have an ordering?
Yeah, there's an order board on there.
Okay, well, I haven't gone out there, so.
But what we're talking about here has nothing to do with. any
Well,
of
I was just
that.
wondering how much space they needed to queue up in here.
Yeah, but what we're doing up here has no effect on that, so.
Yeah, we don't know. This is one of those new style that we really haven't seen yet. They keep popping up and they keep coming to you, but it's not something that we've experienced yet, where it's just a pickup window internet orders and phone orders and things like that.
To me, you've got plenty of space there, so you add the 1.5 feet and have the truck back in,
Right.
and you go home.
And even with that, you can still head on there on 8 foot. So I don't see any problem.
Okay.
So Sal, all in one sentence, or one paragraph, how would you state your solution?
Well, my solution would be, if you were open to that, as a solution is to tack on to this curb right here,
Right?
additional concrete curb there that would provide the 5 foot clearance from the most obtrusive, encroaching, equipment.
And what's the downside of that? Is there a downside, or?
Obviously a little added cost at this point, but it's less than tearing new stuff out.
Right.
Clearly.
I mean, what,
The only clarification, as I heard it early on, is whether a sidewalk includes the curb or not from you guys. What we'd end up with is our sidewalk plus a little curb area plus a bigger curb area. And as long as you guys are counting that whole thing as 5 feet, then I guess we're not needing the variance. We're gonna end up creating the 5 feet, including those curb areas.
I would count to the edge of the curb and whatever's the travelable space.
And
Yeah.
and that's how I normally calculate it too. I just,
yeah, the in,
16 inches gets us 55 inches, 18 inches gets us 58 inches, so to the meter.
you said 39 is back of curb. right
Back to curb is 39.
So you've got
back of curb to inside
now?
of curb.
45 right now.
Okay,
We just
so
need
that, yeah,
15
so 16 inches, that'd be my recommendation, scab on 16-inch extra curb.
Where, is this a ladder you mentioned, Foster?
Yeah. The ladder doesn't go that far in there, yes.
Is that here,
Yeah.
further over
Can the,
here?
can the ladder be raised?
I just want to
Not per
respect his
OSHA.
Not per
recommendation.
OSHA, yeah.
OSHA says first rung's gotta be no more than 12 inches off the ground,
Yeah.
so that's a trouble spot. Yeah, I think the electrical was the furthest thing out anyway. I don't think the electrical.
That's what it looked like, the electrical.
Yeah, but with this ladder, it's not, it's far out, but if you notice, there's a tie that connects that stuff. That
Well,
stuff
the welding
swings
rod's
back.
gonna go away and they'll have a lock on there, so.
It's-
Hope to God.
That HEB getting tired up.
This dirt that we're seeing in this picture, is that right along next to the building?
That's their,
That's concrete pavement.
that's their symbol for paving.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about in the picture.
Yes, you're correct. It is right along.
Yeah, they-
Can you go back to the
The
ladder?
problem was known
Yeah.
before it was formed.
I've got a picture with it
Yeah.
paved.
What is
I
that?
took
That's
earlier
all
this
that
evening.
hexagon.
That's what's gonna be the concrete.
Yeah,
Okay,
and there's
that's
5 feet
future.
there, but when you get, there's a electrical meter poking out
Right,
right here.
yeah,
that
and
gets
what
down
we're
there
talking about
and
is
then-
going out here.
Yeah, just add 16 inches out
If
there.
you wanna see it, I've got a picture taken this evening.
Okay, yeah,
Sure.
we got the same one, thank you.
Okay.
And this is dubious use anyway over here, so all we're doing is cutting a little bit into that.
To me, and I'm not an engineer, I didn't go to University of Texas, and
You didn't go there?
I can't, I'm not even sure where it is, but.
Those two words don't go together, do they? Engineer and PE.
But, if there's a way to solve this where it's gonna cost a little money versus a whole lot of money to tear it out and redo it, and this is workable and it meets the need that we have, then I can support that.
I'll concur with his previous statement.
All right, everybody good with adding 16 inches on?
Remember, he was gonna be already offering to put in ramps there, so that was gonna.
Well, let me throw something, I'm looking at this picture here. Does it need to go all the way across? Seem like you could have a triangular piece just to get past the obstacle, and you have a pretty good walking path. Oh, maybe you're gonna have electrical there that we don't see, or,
No, the electrical gutter's in place, everything's gonna be above it going up
That's a
and
good
into the
point, Eric.
space, so.
Basically intersect where the door is with a wedge to get you your,
just do a wedge.
Yeah.
Just
Just to get around.
cut
the
that
obstruction
corner with
piece.
a triangle and, I mean, this isn't a problem with the head, is it, on that side?
No, cause
At
we've
the
got,
moment
we've
with
got.
the-
So rather than go all the way across in something simplistic, just A triangle is another geometric shape rather than a rectangle, so that's my engineering.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
As long as you don't wedge that corner there, because that corner is gonna be the weakest point of the whole thing, right there.
See,
If
the
you
corner,
wedge it all the way down to the very end,
yeah,
It's gonna break off.
it'll break off.
The rectangle.
Concrete, on a corner will break off immediately.
so are you agreeing with me to do a triangle? Is that what you?
No, just gone on straight on.
You think straight's better?
Yeah.
Straight
Say-
rectangle.
You've got a different engineering perspective than I do,
Well, we
so.
look at concrete every day, and we know where the weak points
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Civil.
My engineering is liquid. Chemical.
Are you a moonshiner?
Man, you stole the words out of my mouth. So it all makes sense.
So we're saying 16 inches and,
Yes,
Yeah, that'll make it stronger.
it'll make it strong.
so you're gonna have to tear out the curb and then you put the rebar in? No.
No,
Drill
just
into it.
Drill into
Drill
it.
into it.
Okay.
Better solution.
Tiebacks,
How can they,
high pressure, hopefully.
cause this curb's got a radius on it, right?
Yep.
How can they make that go away?
That's a good question.
They'll put mortar there and it'll be broken off in about 2 years.
Well,
Right.
that's true, that's true. And now it's gonna be up.
It'll have to be a little
Because it's a wedge all the way along the top where
I
they,
think it's gonna be filled with caulk like your redwood joints are. They're just gonna need to fill it to level it out
Yeah.
as best they can.
That's the best route,
okay,
which gives it movement too.
that's what they need to do.
Eddie, you concur?
Yes, sir.
Or do we need to get them to cut a straight square edge along there, cut the
I'll be
radius?
out to look at it, and if it's not gonna hold, I'll flag it and let them know they need to do something different.
Cause we don't wanna, like, think of a wheelchair, you don't wanna get in that groove and, or bicycle.
Or tricycle.
I never thought the
Or just
curb-
me walking.
I never have thought the curbs are very strong here anyway. Seem like,
It's not the same type of curve you have
Yeah,
in
it's-
front of your house.
okay.
It's not a this is not a drive-up curb.
This
Like
is
what's
not-
up front
You've
of the
got
house.
rebar in it,
Do they have rebar?
in the curb?
Well, you wouldn't use rebar.
Who does that anymore?
Okay, it has rebar, it has dowels, and this is a six-inch stand-up curb, different from the manual curb that you have on your residences. So it's a-
I
it's a-
just noticed the number of corners in this building, in this town that have the curb wiped out by trucks, and I figured
In
it's,
this particular case, it's gonna be
You go back
just
to your
wheelchairs.
photos of that curb,
at the moment.
your photos
Okay.
that you had of that with the dirt
well,
back
I'll
there.
go with your guidance, so.
That shows it,
All
the
right.
second one from the.
Party
go
on,
that
Wayne.
one there. Okay.
Matthew, why don't you come up
See
with a
that?
motion for us?
And I think that
Oh.
curb is poured monolithic with the driveway. I don't, that curb is gonna be hard to knock off there, so. Because it's there already and wasn't poured with the sidewalk, it's likely that curb is poured monolithic with the
Yeah.
driveway, and it is all one massive piece of
So it's gonna be plenty strong, as long as y'all tag into it both ways. Into the curb and into the,
They're gonna have to go into the concrete.
Yeah.
right,
They're
into
gonna
the
have to
curb
down
and into the
Go down, okay.
sideways and down.
Well, the same way you
The-
took out the, you know, like you were doing the existing stuff, cut it and break it up and do that. Yeah. It's not much to it.
Not my wallet.
Well, I think what we're doing is denying a variance, so they've got their directions of what to do.
Yeah. let them-
So we don't have to do anything.
Engineering.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
All right, I'm
Just move to deny the variance.
I move to deny the variance to apply to a 16-inch smooth alternative approach to our sidewalk issue at 101 Windingway, Lot G, for the Lake Jackson Town Center development.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I don't know how you agree with it not accepting, or,
I think all we have to,
Accept it, then we can discuss it if there's any more thoughts.
I think what Jeff's saying.
well, my thought
deny
is
the
they've
variance.
come for a variance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's on the agenda.
Yeah.
We're denying the variance. Once we deny
not
the
giving them a
variance,
solution.
they now have the instructions of what to do. We don't have to make a
Okay.
motion on it.
That's correct.
Okay, somebody accept the
So-
motion so we can proceed.
I'll second it.
All right, we second it. All
You don't
right,
even have a-
discussion. we want to amend it, so Jeff, you want to restate it, how you would like to change it?
I just move that we deny the request to grant a variance to the sidewalk width or alternative approach for shopping center development at Lake Jackson Town Center, Lot G, Reserve B at 101 Windingway.
Matt, are you okay with amending your motion to that?
I am, Chairman.
All right, we have a new motion, as Jeff read it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Did you get Joe to approve second both of those?
I said it twice.
His voice carries well.
Thank you.
So that should help everybody, am I correct? Might make it a little bit easier for most folks.
Yes.
They now know how to go.
All right. Thank you for coming up, and good luck with that. Hopefully that's a relatively low-cost solution.
Hopefully they get it done quickly.
Appreciate y'all doing what you're doing. That's all of our items. We're down to signature of documents. We have something?
Yes, we have some
something to sign.
replats to sign.
Okay.
All right, items of community interest. Jeff?
I don't have any.
Terry?
I've noticed a couple of houses being built and was surprised, since all my experience with Habitat, that there's no hurricane tie-down straps. Are they
What?
not required in the city?
Where?
Where?
Well, on Yopon, that house being built, on Windingway, there's no metal in that.
Building official?
Huh?
Building official?
You're no longer a spectator, sir. Good eye.
Get your horse up here in the game.
Mr. Sargent, what's your concern?
Hurricane tie-downs, top and bottom of the studs. Habitat has them on every stud. I'm not seeing any of them on the houses that are being built.
We'll have to verify with the engineer what their design stated, but a hurricane tie-down could be standard, but the engineer accepts responsibility for his designs, but I'll look into those.
Engineer, which engineer?
The structural engineer, the windstorm engineer.
Are you referring to just a regular residence?
Yes. Seem like that's the building standards for the city.
Well, the city uses the building code as its standard, and the building
Okay.
code has a prescriptive code. And it does talk about building in wind areas. However, engineering, which is also required in our zone, that engineer has the latitude to design what he will because he's accepting responsibility for that. So we'll double check with the engineering on those addresses to verify that they're being built according to the engineer specifications.
I guess I'm confused.
They're saying there's different ways of skinning the cat. You don't have to do it with the hurricane clips. There's other ways to still have the same wind.
I don't.
But he wants the addresses so he can check them to make sure they're
Well,
up to
the one
par.
on Yopon across from Church of Christ, also the one, is it Windingway? There's another structure being built. So both of them, I thought one of them might be an exception, but they're both that way. And
Yeah, the one would be a Peltier house, right there on
yeah, Peltier, I think. they're-
Acacia and
But
Yopon. and all-
Habitat, the only question with Habitat is you put them on every stud, top and bottom, and sometimes you put shear walls in.
Again, those are engineered designs, and so
That's
we'll
right.
verify with the engineer what his design
Yeah,
calls
and
for.
the Habitat engineers require that, but I would have thought it would have been a building standard. All of Kentucky is thinking about doing the similar things because they didn't, and the houses blow away. I've been told that the hurricanes that go into Miami, I think it was, the only houses left standing were Habitat houses.
So I can tell you that, based upon my conversations with the builders and with the windstorm engineers, they do have their own inspector go out, who is a employee of the engineering firm, to verify that the construction does meet the engineers, the responsible engineers' design.
Okay,
We also do our framing inspections, and we identify deficiencies according to the building code. However, the engineer is accepting responsibility for those designs and for those inspections. So we'll go verify the information you provided to see whether or not there's issue there.
okay. If I were building a house, I would know what I would do.
See election signs, when's this next election? March?
Thank you.
Primary, 60 days.
What all is this election for?
County offices, I guess, it's not even.
State
State
offices,
and county, I think.
state offices,
What are
county
we having,
offices.
primaries?
That's in March,
Yeah,
March 2nd or 3rd, whatever. it is.
Third, yeah, third.
So early voting starts in February sometime?
City signs are up 60, is it still 60 days, David?
Yes, sir.
Joe, community interest?
No, there's nobody here that could help this, but, there's construction traffic we used by the C Center on Medical Drive when they were building back there first. They're not using that anymore, they're using Plantation, and at from 5 till about 5:30, it's a racetrack. And it's getting dangerous for people going back and forth across the road.
Is that construction coming from?
They're coming out of that back gate, back by the C Center, and
Again?
turning right instead of going
Yeah, they're
straight.
coming back out of there again.
Oh, they're turning again.
Yep.
I thought that was supposed to just be temporary.
I did too. It's only temporary when it's locked.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they repaved it again middle of last year, so.
It's never locked now, it's open all the
Yeah,
time.
it's open
It used to be when the group was there before, they locked it at
No, they left it
work time,
open
and then they reopened it now.
since
it's
they
open
shut
all
down,
the
what is
time.
that, Chlorine Road, gate 40? When they put the sign that was closed permanently, they left that back gate open since then.
That's all.
No, I'm good. I'm good, boss.
Anything? Sabrina?
I'm good.
Mr. Horseman? Come on. Anything? Good, even though you're wearing a Arkansas shirt?
Yeah, I have to live next to him, it's okay.
Eddie?
He's a good guy.
Phil?
Yeah, good.
So,
Good.
Sal, thank you for throwing that option out there.
Well, it was getting to where nothing was gonna happen there.
We do that a lot.
and Maria, when's our next meeting?
On February 1st.
February 1st, ooh.
I wonder how much the city lost on the New Year's Eve dance. There were 50, so we could do social distancing pretty easy.
White Bear crowded.
Huh?
One
No,
very
it wasn't.
crowded.
I don't know, something over 50 people maybe.
Oh, wow.
Not near the number of tables last time you went.
All right, next meeting's February 1st, the meeting's adjourned, let's sign our documents. Thank you all for coming.